Chapter 101. Wu Sui furrowed his brows in thought for a moment before recalling who Song Wan was. His expression relaxed, and he said, "So you're Ji-een from the corpse dissection cave? With your level of cultivation, how did you manage to enter the secret realm?" Song Wan sighed and replied, "I originally thought the secret realm would be filled with spiritual herbs, so I intended to gather some herbs to exchange for cultivation resources. But it turns out this secret realm is fraught with dangers, and wherever there are herbs, there are often beasts guarding them. Fortunately, I met senior brother Wu Sui. I thought I could be of service to you and get some protection in return." Wu Sui raised an eyebrow and said, "Oh, you want my protection? But with your mere qi refining 5th layer cultivation, why would I need to work with you?" Song Wan shamelessly responded, "Although my cultivation is weak, my attention to detail can still be of help to you. Moreover, as a solo cultivator, you're bound to encounter some dirty and tiring tasks, which I can assist with. You say you're detail-oriented. Then tell me, which direction should I head in now?" Wu Sui asked. "Given your strength and perspective, you're not interested in ordinary treasures. Only the heavenly spirit fruit and the jade crystal mushroom would catch your interest," Song Wan said. "In my opinion, you should first head to the southeast to the Great Mountain to obtain the heavenly spirit fruit." Wu Sui shook his head and said, "Although heavenly spirit fruit is valuable, it's still inferior to jade essence grass. I'm not planning to go southeast but directly to the center of the secret realm to the Falling Hawk Gorge to obtain the jade essence grass. While both heavenly spirit fruit and jade essence grass are ingredients for foundation establishment pills, the heavenly spirit fruit is produced by a spiritual tree and is rare, though it can be cultivated by major sects. The jade crystal mushroom, however, grows on cliffs and cannot be artificially cultivated. Rare items are more valuable. The price of jade essence grass is naturally higher than that of heavenly spirit fruit." Song Wan replied, "Senior brother, you're mistaken. Although jade essence grass are more precious, the Falling Hawk Gorge is teeming with beasts and corpses. The mushrooms won't be easy to obtain, and experts from the 3 major sects will definitely be after them. There will likely be a fierce battle. Like the mantis stalking the cicada while the yellow sparrow waits behind. It would be better for you to first get the heavenly spirit fruit and wait until other experts have dealt with the beasts in Falling Hawk Gorge, or even until they've fought amongst themselves. Wouldn't that be a better opportunity?" Wu Sui was silent for a moment before speaking. "What you say does have some merit, but how do we ensure the timing? Jade essence grass are already rare. If I arrive too late and they're all taken, what then?" Song Wan suggested, "Then we should block the exit of the secret realm. Whoever obtains the jade essence grass will have to leave, and since there's only one exit, with your strength, you should have a good chance of defeating any survivors who made it through tough battles." Wu Sui's eyes lit up. "That's a good idea. All right, you can accompany me." Song Wan hurriedly cupped his hands and bowed. "Thank you, senior brother." Wu Sui waved his hand, and a flying boat appeared in front of them. He jumped onto the flying boat and said, "Ji-een, get on." The two weren't far from the mountain where the heavenly spirit fruit grew. After flying for more than half an hour, they arrived. The mountain wasn't very high, only a bit over 1,000 meters. The entire mountain was covered in lush vegetation, verdant and dense from a distance. They could see that the spiritual energy on the mountain was chaotic, with occasional roaring sounds. A fierce battle was erupting on the mountain. Wu Sui said, "It seems someone has gotten here first, however. We're not too late. The heavenly spirit fruit should still be here." The flying boat headed straight for the fighting area on the mountain. They saw a group of giant apes surrounding several human cultivators. Not far from the battle, there was a 2-meter-tall spiritual tree with 10 walnut-sized spiritual fruits. Most of them were green, with only 2 being yellowish-green. Only these 2 yellowish-green heavenly spirit fruit were ripe. Heavenly spirit fruit must be mature before it can be used for pill refining. Unripe fruit has strong toxicity. There were many giant apes, numbering over 40. Most of them were over 3 meters tall, with the strongest one approaching 7 meters. This one was clearly the leader of the apes. The Ape King exuded a thick and violent aura, almost reaching the level of a second-stage beast. Its muscular, elongated arms could create terrifying gusts of wind with each swing. The surrounded human cultivators were from the profound insect, totaling 7 individuals. The leader had a cultivation of Qi refining 9th layer, 2 were at Qi refining 8th layer, and the rest were at Qi refining 7th layer. The profound insect members also noticed the sudden appearance of Songwen and Wu Sui. The leader's expression grew serious. They were already being besieged by the apes, and if Wu Sui, with his chi refining 9th layer cultivation, were to attack them as well, many of them might not make it out of the mountain today. As for Songwen, he was disregarded entirely. A chi refining 5th layer cultivator was easily disposable. The leader chanted spells while looking up and shouting loudly, "Friends from the corpse demon sect, I am Qin Xiaoming of the profound insect, can you assist us in repelling the apes? In return, we will share the heavenly spirit fruit with you." Wu Sui coldly watched the battle below, unmoved. There were only 2 ripe heavenly spirit fruit, and the idea of sharing was delusional. Seeing that Wu Sui did not respond and appeared prepared to let both sides suffer before taking advantage, Chen Xiaoming gritted his teeth and shouted, "Brothers, retreat." He wielded a ghost banner over 10 feet tall, and with a sweep, a large amount of ghostly energy erupted, summoning a 10-foot-tall ghostly figure. The ghostly energy surged into the group of giant apes. This ghostly energy was quite unusual. It did not harm the apes but drastically reduced their speed, with only the Ape King remaining relatively unaffected. The Ape King swung its nearly 3-meter-long thick arm towards Qin Xiaoming. The 10-foot-tall ghostly figure barely managed to block the Ape King's attack. Qin Xiaoming and the other profound insect disciples, seizing the opportunity while the apes were restrained, hurriedly used their movement techniques to either leap into the air or retreat. However, suddenly, a black chain shot out from the flying boat above. The chain was enveloped in a malevolent aura, its imposing presence akin to an enraged black dragon, swirling and roaring in midair. The chain's sudden appearance and terrifying aura caught the profound insect disciples off guard. They had no time to prepare countermeasures and chose to temporarily avoid the attack, including Qin Xiaoming, who was at chi refining 9th layer. With the chain blocking their path, the profound insect members' speed plummeted. At this moment, the apes, freed from the black mist, quickly pursued the profound insect disciples using all 4 limbs. The Ape King also killed the 10-foot-tall ghostly figure and picked up a massive piece of timber, hurling it at Qin Xiaoming. Qin Xiaoming glanced at the flying boat above, his eyes blazing with anger. Damn it. He waved the ghost banner again, unleashing a large amount of black energy that shattered the approaching timber into splinters. Just then, a sharp whistling sound came from above. Looking up, Qin Xiaoming saw the Ape King leaping high, with its fists raised like hammers. Its entire body was bulging with muscle, and it came crashing down with a force that seemed capable of shattering anything. If the Ape King's fists hit Qin Xiaoming directly, he who had not trained in physical cultivation methods would likely be crushed into pulp. Qin Xiaoming waved the ghost banner once more, and another fierce ghost sprang out. This ghost resembled a bull-headed demon standing on 2 legs, with 2 sharp bull horns extending half a meter from its head. End of the chapter. Fun fact: you can now support me and read advanced chapters of RDC. Currently up to 160 as of 20 Sep 24. Just visit my Patreon, Pa-Cinder-TL. If you are content with the free chapters, you can show your appreciation by joining me for as low as 1. You can read this and other series more coming in the future on my Patreon, and please leave some reviews. Need more reviews. Chapter 102. The bull-headed demon charged at the Ape King in midair with its horns. Qin Xiaoming did not concern himself with the battle between the bull-headed demon and the Ape King. Instead, he quickly scanned the entire battlefield with his spiritual sense. He found that all of his subordinates were embroiled in desperate battles. Originally, when the 7 of them were together, they could barely fend off the ape swarm. Now, divided by the apes, they faced the threat of being defeated one by one. With powerful apes in front and disciples of the corpse demon sect eyeing them from above, Qin Xiaoming's eyes flashed with unwillingness and resolve. The ghost banner once again emitted black mist, enveloping him. His figure accelerated rapidly, quickly retreating from the battlefield toward the distance. Without Qin Xiaoming, the chi refining 9th layer cultivator, to hold the line, the remaining disciples of the profound insect quickly showed signs of collapse, especially the giant, immensely strong Ape King, who was nearly invincible. The Ape King crushed a chi refining 7th layer cultivator with a single punch and suddenly became frenzied, its eyes burning with what seemed like blazing fire as it looked at the heavenly spirit fruit tree. Roar! The Ape King let out a furious roar, and the turbulent air from its mouth and nose blew away nearby wood shavings. Taking advantage of the fierce battle below, the black chain, like a lurking snake, struck at the heavenly spirit fruit tree. Seeing the chain about to wrap around the 2 ripe heavenly spirit fruit, the Ape King exerted force on its legs and leaped up, reaching for the chain in midair. Wu Sui slapped the bag on his waist, summoning a chi refining 9th layer corpse puppet, which immediately appeared in midair and smashed down towards the Ape King. Boom. The two powerful monsters collided in midair, the corpse puppet was sent flying, and the Ape King, obstructed by the corpse puppet, had its upward momentum drastically reduced. It could only watch as the chain wrapped around the two heavenly spirit fruit and pulled them down. The Ape King's eyes blazed with fury as it picked up a large stone the size of a millstone from the ground with a powerful effort. It hurled the stone like a cannonball towards the flying boat above. Wu Sui flicked the chain in his hand, sending the two heavenly spirit fruit towards the flying boat. The chain spiraled in midair and then plunged into the oncoming giant rock. Boom. The giant rock was shattered into fragments by the chain, which sent debris flying everywhere. At this point, all the profound insect disciples had been killed by the apes. The apes, enraged at losing the heavenly spirit fruit, grabbed large pieces of timber and stones and hurled them at the flying boat. Having already obtained the heavenly spirit fruit, Wu Sui had no reason to stay. He piloted the flying boat to escape, taking the chain-wrapped corpse puppet with him. The apes, naturally unwilling to give up, pursued fiercely but soon lost sight of the flying boat as they could not fly. Songwen watched Wu Sui recall the corpse puppet into his bag, noting that Wu Sui had another bag hanging at his waist. This indicated that Wu Sui had at least two corpse puppets. Moreover, there was a significant power gap between the two corpse puppets, otherwise he wouldn't have separated them into different bags. If two corpse puppets with a large power disparity were kept in the same bag, the stronger one would absorb the weaker one's necromantic energy, causing the weaker one's strength to diminish. Obtaining two heavenly spirit fruit so smoothly made Wu Sui quite pleased. He smiled and said, "Ji-in disciple, this is a reward for you. When we return to the sect, I will reward you well." Songwen bowed and said, "Brother, you overpraise me. I did not contribute much and do not dare to covet." Wu Sui said, "What is yours will be yours. Your cultivation may not be high, but your mind is quite sharp." As Songwen responded to Wu Sui, he couldn't help but marvel at the chain in Wu Sui's hand. It was indeed magical, able to attack and defend, and could adjust in length. Wu Sui's smooth acquisition of the heavenly spirit fruit was due in part to the magical chain, and in part to the fact that he had coincidentally encountered the profound insect members engaged in a fierce battle with the ape swarm. If Songwen had come to collect the heavenly spirit fruit himself, he might not have succeeded. The strength of the ape swarm was indeed formidable, especially the Ape King, with its tough skin and immense strength, making it nearly impossible to breach its defenses with normal attacks, if confronted head-on. Songwen would not have been confident in defeating the entire ape swarm. The plan to deceive Wu Sui and obtain the heavenly spirit fruit had been well executed now. He just needed to kill Wu Sui to claim the heavenly spirit fruit. But Wu Sui was powerful and had a golden core cultivator behind him, so he must have many life-saving measures. Underestimating him would be dangerous. One strike must be fatal to prevent any chance of counterattack or escape. Songwen activated the cold moon blade within him, preparing for the strongest strike. He had also released two chi-refining 9th layer corpse puppets. If he couldn't kill Wu Sui with one blow and Wu Sui managed to escape, the outer corpse puppets could intercept him. Just as Songwen was about to make his move, the flying boat suddenly veered sharply to the left, heading towards the ground. Songwen was startled. Looking closely, he saw a stunningly beautiful woman standing on the ground a few hundred meters to the left. It was the alluring woman with revealing clothing previously. He had focused entirely on Wu Sui and had not noticed her presence. He inwardly cursed himself for being so careless. If this woman had seen him, and if he had killed Wu Sui, he might have been captured by the sect as soon as he left the secret realm, facing torment worse than death. "Junior sister Ing and I didn't expect to encounter you here." Wu Sui jumped down from the bow of the boat and landed in front of the woman. Ing and I always seemed to have an enchanting smile on her face as she looked at Wu Sui with affection and said, "Senior brother Wu Sui, I didn't expect to see you here. This secret realm is so dangerous. Only by being around a powerful cultivator like you can I feel safe." Wu Sui seemed completely captivated by her beauty. He patted his chest and said, "Junior sister, don't worry with me. Wu Sui, around. I won't let you get hurt." Ingni's eyes were full of admiration and infatuation. "Thank you for your help, senior brother." Wu Sui said, "Come aboard my flying boat. I'll take you away." Ing and I glanced at the flying boat, and her eyes showed surprise. "Oh, senior brother, there are others on your boat." Wu Sui said, He's called Jean. His cultivation is quite weak, but he's quite clever. I think he still has some use, so I brought him along. Does Junior's sister dislike traveling with him? If so, I can have him leave. Ing and I quickly stopped Wu Sui and said, there's no need for that, since he's a fellow sect member. Helping each other is only proper. On the flying boat, Song-won, who had overheard their conversation, felt somewhat frustrated. Wu Sui's luck was indeed extraordinary. If it weren't for Ing Ni's sudden appearance, Song-won's plan might have already resulted in Wu Sui being dead by now, but with Ing and I, another Qi refining 9th layer cultivator, present, Song-won decided against taking action. Both of them were direct disciples of the Corpse Demon sect, and their methods were not comparable to ordinary Qi refining 9th layer cultivators. Killing both of them simultaneously was something Song-won was not confident about. He had never fought against direct disciples of large sects and was unfamiliar with their methods and resources, which made him hesitant to act at this moment. Wu Sui seemed completely mesmerized by Ing and I. However, judging by his previous actions, he didn't appear to be someone easily swayed by female charm. Song-won observed Ing and I with infatuation while contemplating. Song-won was no longer a novice in the world of cultivation. He knew that Ing and I must have practiced charm techniques. It would be abnormal for a Qi refining 5th layer cultivator like him not to be influenced by her. Additionally, Song-won noticed that Ing and I was wearing a blue ring on the index finger of her left hand. End of the chapter. Fun fact: you can now support me and read advanced chapters of RDC. Currently up to 162 as of 21 Sep 24. Just visit my Patreon, Pa-Cinder-TL. If you are content with the free chapters, you can show your appreciation by joining me for as low as $1. You can read this and other series more coming in the future on my Patreon, and please leave some reviews. Need more reviews. Chapter 103. Wu Sui and Ing and I boarded the flying boat. Ing and I asked, Senior Brother Wu Sui, where are we headed now? To Falling Hawk Gorge. Wu Sui replied, Falling Hawk Gorge was very far from here, about 4,000 to 5,000 kilometers away. Even with a flying boat, it would take quite some time. Soon, night fell, but Wu Sui had no intention of stopping. He continued to travel through the night. At some point, Ing and I had moved to sit on Wu Sui's lap, and Wu Sui's hands were inappropriately exploring her body, causing Ing and I to blush and emit soft moans and gasps. Ing Ni's already scantily clad outfit became even more disheveled, revealing more of her white skin. Song-won watched their intimate actions with frustration. At one moment, he felt an urge to kill both of them on the spot, but he noticed the black chains emerging from Wu Sui's sleeves like hidden venomous snakes, which made him abandon the idea of a surprise attack. Wu Sui was indeed not as simple as he appeared. He was highly vigilant. As dawn approached, the three finally arrived at Falling Hawk Gorge. Falling Hawk Gorge was located between two large mountains with a massive, bottomless rift spanning several dozen kilometers across the land. From a distance of several kilometers away from Falling Hawk Gorge, they heard a piercing eagle cry. A giant eagle with a wingspan of over 10 meters soared from the gorge. Its feathers had a faint metallic sheen, like sharp, heavy metal feathers. The giant eagle ascended from the gorge with its feathers scattered and a deep wound, from which fresh red blood was continuously dripping. It was clear that the giant eagle had just gone through a fierce battle and had suffered significant injury. Instead of leaving, the giant eagle continued to circle high in the sky. Its sharp gaze was fixed on the dark rift of Falling Hawk Gorge as if something inside was irresistibly drawing it, even though it was injured. A peak Qi refining iron-winged eagle who can hurt it? Ing and I gazed at the giant eagle in shock and murmured, it's likely the zombies in Falling Hawk Gorge, only they could pose a threat to the iron-winged eagle, Wu Sui said with a serious expression despite his usual arrogance. It seemed that obtaining the jade essence grass was not as easy as anticipated. At that moment, another sound came from Falling Hawk Gorge. A figure shrouded in dense dark energy surged out of the gorge. This person moved extremely fast, almost surpassing the limits of Qi refining cultivators, comparable to some Foundation establishment cultivators who were not skilled in escaping. The figure quickly disappeared into the dense forest. That's the Profound Insect's ghostly escape. This person is one of the Profound Insect's ghost patrollers, Ing and I said. Ing and I could determine the person's identity just from a single escape technique. It seemed that the ghostly escape was either very difficult to practice or not easily taught. As ordinary Profound Insect disciples would not have had the chance to learn it. Roar. Next, a hulking figure burst out of Falling Hawk Gorge. This figure was enveloped in an overwhelming corpse energy with a gaunt, naked body that had a faint bronze hue, second-grade bronze corpse. Wu Sui's gaze was filled with disbelief. How is this possible? How could something comparable to a Foundation establishment cultivator be born in the withered blood secret realm? No, wait. It's not a true second-grade bronze corpse. Although it has the characteristics of a bronze corpse, the corpse energy it possesses is far from reaching the level of a second-grade bronze corpse. This was a corpse that had advanced to the second grade in terms of physical form but seemed restricted by some rule, with its corpse energy forcibly limited to the first-grade zombie level. This pseudo-second-grade bronze corpse was somewhat similar to Song Wen's situation, as both were semi-Foundation establishment-level beings. However, this bronze corpse was physically on par with a Foundation establishment cultivator. And since zombies typically excel in physical strength, it was nearly invincible in the withered blood secret realm, where only chi-refining cultivators could enter. It was almost impossible for anyone to break through its physical defenses. The bronze corpse was not skilled in escape techniques. It relied on its powerful physique, crashing through everything in its path like a human bulldozer. If the fleeing ghost patroller was like a swift wind, the pursuing bronze corpse was like a wolfish beast charging through. The trees blocking its way were all smashed aside, creating a path of destruction. As the bronze corpse moved further away, dozens of figures emerged from Falling Hawk Gorge. They were disciples from the three major sects who had been hiding and observing from the shadows. These individuals followed closely behind the bronze corpse, rushing after it. Wu Sui, who was confused by the situation, maneuvered the flying boat closer to the foremost figure among these dozens. This person was a burly and stout figure. Chioli. What's happening? In Falling Hawk Gorge? Wu Sui asked. Chioli glanced up at Wu Sui without slowing her pace. Her entire body was surging with blood energy as she performed the blood escape technique. With her dense blood energy, using the blood escape technique did not affect her too much. Seeing that Chioli did not respond, Wu Sui continued, "Do you really think that you alone can handle that pseudo-second-grade bronze corpse?" Wu Sui pointed at Ing and I and said, "If the three of us join forces, we can share the benefits." As for Songwon, Wu Sui completely ignored him, as Songwon was not qualified to obtain the Jade Essence Grass. Seemingly persuaded by Wu Sui, Chioli finally spoke. The Ghost Patroller used its extremely fast escape technique to steal all three Jade Essence Grass from Falling Hawk Gorge while the Iron-Winged Eagle and the Bronze Corpse were fighting. What? The Ghost Patroller has three Jade Essence Grass? Wu Sui exclaimed in surprise. We must find a way to intercept him. If he escapes with his escape technique, it will be difficult to track him down. Wu Sui quickly cast several spells and the flying boat accelerated dramatically, moving more than twice as fast as before, even surpassing Chioli, who was using the blood escape technique. Wu Sui controlled the flying boat, heading towards the direction where the trees had been knocked down by the bronze corpse. Songwon, standing at the back of the flying boat, was astonished by its speed. Wu Sui's flying boat was significantly faster than his own, with a golden core cultivator backing him. The boat's foundation was indeed deep. At that moment, the Iron-Winged Eagle, which had been following from above, suddenly dived down as the king of the skies. No one present could match its speed, neither the Ghost Patroller, the pseudo-second-grade bronze corpse, nor Wu Sui's flying boat could match the speed of the Iron-Winged Eagle. The Iron-Winged Eagle, like a golden claw, seized the Ghost Patroller's head. Facing this life-threatening situation, the Ghost Patroller had to slow down and use his skills to respond. He tapped his waist, releasing a black-faced ghost at the chi-refining 9th level from his ghost-rearing pouch. The ghost, with swirling dark energy and clawing wildly, lunged at the Iron-Winged Eagle, taking advantage of this. The bronze corpse had caught up with him. End of the chapter. Fun fact: you can now support me and read advanced chapters of RDC. Currently up to 165 as of 22 Sep 24. Just visit my Patreon. Pa-Cinder-TL. If you are content with the free chapters, you can show your appreciation by joining me for as low as $1. You can read this and other series more coming in the future on my Patreon. And please leave some reviews. Need more reviews. Chapter 104. The bronze corpse opened its gaping mouth, revealing 2-inch-long fangs, and with a ferocious expression, lunged toward the Ghost Patroller. The bronze corpse was too powerful. The Ghost Patroller had no courage to resist. He looked up and saw Wu Sui's flying boat approaching from above. With a flick of his hand, he threw a spirit plant the size of a human head toward the flying boat. It was the Jade Essence Grass. The bronze corpse, upon seeing the Jade Essence Grass appear in midair, was instantly captivated by it. Halting its attack on the Ghost Patroller with a sudden burst of power, it leaped into the air, reaching for the Jade Essence Grass. Wu Sui, who was surprised to see a Jade Essence Grass suddenly appear in the air, didn't have time to rejoice before seeing the bronze corpse soar upward, its corpse aura surging, and its malevolent energy roiling, as it chased after the jade essence grass and pounced on the flying boat. Faced with this sudden turn of events, Wu Sui remained calm. He fully activated his chains, which coiled in the air, forming a sharp, conical shape and thrust directly at the bronze corpse. The chain's cones struck the bronze corpse's chest with a muffled thud. The chains instantly fell powerless to the ground as if they had been shaken apart. The bronze corpse, however, remained unharmed. Its upward speed only slightly slowed, and it continued reaching for the jade essence grass. Go! Wu Sui decisively ordered Song when suddenly felt a void beneath his feet as Wu Sui retracted the flying boat. Wu Sui and Ying and I were falling towards the ground. Moving away from the bronze corpse, Song 1, on the other hand, felt a force push him from behind towards the direction of the bronze corpse. He glanced sideways at Wu Sui, realizing that Wu Sui had just used spiritual energy to push him. Wu Sui was essentially sending him to the bronze corpse's maw to delay the bronze corpse's speed, making it easier for Wu Sui and Ying and I to escape. Damn it. The demonic sect is indeed full of despicable people. Song Wen cursed inwardly at this moment. The bronze corpse had grabbed the jade essence grass in its hand and was raising its left hand, preparing to eliminate Song Wen, who was merely a small fry. Seeing the fearsome, menacing face of the bronze corpse getting closer, Song Wen remained unflinching. Suddenly, a burst of blood light flashed around Song Wen, and his falling speed increased several times, narrowly avoiding the bronze corpse's fatal strike. As for the corpse aura from the bronze corpse, once it entered Song Wen's body, it dissipated without causing any effect. Bang! Song Wen crashed into the ground, creating a 1-meter-deep pit. With no time to waste, he used the blood escape technique, finding a secluded spot to escape 200 meters away. Ying and I and Wu Sui landed not far from the ghost patroller. Wu Sui looked up at the still airborne bronze corpse and noticed that Song Wen had disappeared, looking somewhat surprised. Where's Ji-in? Ying and I also noticed this and asked, how did he escape the bronze corpse's attack? Not sure. Maybe he had good fortune or some sort of life-saving trump card. As they discussed, the two hurriedly rushed toward the ghost patroller. The ghost patroller had used a 9th-layer chi refining ghost to temporarily block the iron-winged eagle's attack and had lured the bronze corpse away with a jade essence grass. He was preparing to escape when a chain suddenly descended from the sky, blocking his path. Ghost patroller, I am Wu Sui of the corpse demon sect. Give me half of the jade essence grass, and I'll help you fend off the bronze corpse. The ghost patroller didn't even glance at Wu Sui. He wouldn't believe Wu Sui's words. If he gave Wu Sui the jade essence grass, Wu Sui would undoubtedly escape faster than anyone else. Seeing that the ghost patroller was unmoved, Wu Sui's chains twisted in the air and directly stabbed toward the ghost patroller's chest. Damn it! Taking advantage of the chaos, the ghost patroller cursed inwardly and quickly moved his hands. A ghost flag, similar to the one Chen Xiaoming had, appeared in his grasp as the ghost flag waved. A surge of yin energy erupted, making the area within 10 meters become filled with ghostly winds. A 9th-layer chi refining ghost emerged from within the yin wind. The chains pierced into the yin wind, and the ghost, dragging its long black ghostly aura like a giant python, coiled around the chains. Wu Sui suddenly found his chains. Uncontrollably dragged by the ghost, he didn't release his grip on the chains and started a struggle with the ghost. The ghost patroller watched the chains being dragged by the ghost and smiled. He had heard of Wu Sui's reputation. Wu Sui's most famous attack method was his black chains. And now that the chains were restrained, Wu Sui's threat was significantly reduced. Just as the ghost patroller was about to use the ghostly escape technique to flee, he suddenly heard a seductive voice, whispering in his ear. Ghost patroller, darling, this little lady has a gift for you. Do you think I'm beautiful? The extremely alluring voice seemed to carry a tantalizing fragrance, soothing and enchanting. The voice was so soft it felt like it could make one's bones turn to mush. Hearing the voice, the ghost patroller's spellcasting was momentarily interrupted immediately. He looked at Ying and I in horror. This woman's seductive technique was terrifying. Just a single sentence had forcefully interrupted his spellcasting. The ghost patroller focused, clearing his mind, and prepared to activate the ghostly escape again. But the moment was fleeting. The iron-winged eagle had already killed the ghost and was diving toward him. The bronze corpse also changed direction and attacked him. Surrounded on three sides, the ghost patroller had no way to escape. The ghost patroller looked at Wu Sui and Ying and I with a mix of hatred and anger. What I can't have. No one else should. Immediately, the remaining 2 jade essence grass appeared in his hand. After infusing them with a burst of energy, he threw them. The jade essence grass were hurled into the air above Wu Sui and Ying and I. Wu Sui, seeing the 2 jade essence grass suddenly thrown over, did not suspect anything and assumed it was the ghost patroller's desperate attempt to survive. Wu Sui's face brightened with joy as he leaped high into the air. Reaching for the 2 jade essence grass, Ying and I also jumped high, determined to obtain the jade essence grass. At this moment, their cooperation fell apart. Roar! Caw! 2 massive roars suddenly erupted. Both the bronze corpse and the iron-winged eagle were attracted to the jade essence grass, changing direction and heading for the mushrooms in the air. Ying, I'll take care of the jade essence grass for now. We can split them once we escape. Wu Sui said. Senior Wu, I'll handle the jade essence grass. Ying and I countered. A hint of ruthlessness flashed in Wu Sui's eyes. The corpse energy swirled around his hand as he struck toward Ying and I. Ying and I wasn't easy to deal with either. Her hand was also surrounded by corpse energy as she clawed at Wu Sui. Their hands clashed. Ying and I, who specialized in seductive techniques, was slightly weaker in speed and strength. She was struck from midair by Wu Sui's blow and fell toward the iron-winged eagle. Wu Sui seized the opportunity to grab the 2 jade essence grass. End of the chapter. Fun fact: you can now support me and read advanced chapters of RDC. Currently up to 165 as of 22 Sep 24. Just visit my Patreon. Pa-Cinder-TL if you are content with the free chapters. You can show your appreciation by joining me for as low as 1. You can read this and other series more coming in the future on my Patreon. And please leave some reviews. Need more reviews. Chapter 105. The iron-winged eagle's sharp claws tore through Ying Ni's side. A vivid spray of blood blossomed in mid-air. The iron-winged eagle's claws gouged out a large chunk of flesh from Ying Ni's waist. Fortunately, she had activated a Vajra talisman in her moment of desperation, or else the claws would have severed her torso. Ying and I fell to the ground. Casting a reluctant glance at Wu Sui in midair, at this moment Wu Sui had already gathered the 2 jade essence grass into his arms. After a moment of hesitation, Ying and I turned and fled, with her injuries and the rupture in her alliance with Wu Sui. And, with the iron-winged eagle and the bronze corpse closing in, staying any longer would be pointless. It could even cost her life. Ying and I chose a direction opposite to the ghost patrollers and vanished into the dense forest. The ghost patroller stored the ghostly spirit in his ghost flag and turned to escape. As he fled, the ghost patroller glanced back at Wu Sui, who was surrounded by the bronze corpse and the iron-winged eagle, and sneered coldly, "Fight on. Fight to the death." Only to find the jade essence grass had already withered and lost their spiritual essence. The thought of the eventual victor among the 3 discovering that the jade essence grass had withered and the furious scene that would ensue eased the ghost patroller's resentment over his stolen treasure a bit. While escaping, the ghost patroller suddenly felt a sharp chill, sensing a life-threatening crisis. Before he could react, a cold flash passed through his vision, piercing through his skull. From behind, the ghost patroller's eyes widened in shock as he fell dead to the ground. Song-won, emerging from the forest with a faint smile on his face, appeared satisfied with his ambush. Indeed, ambushing from the shadows was the strongest attack. Song-won removed the ghost patroller's ghost bag and storage bag, then inserted his hand into the corpse's chest to devour its essence and soul. A burst of fire ignited, burning the ghost patroller's body into ashes. The entire process was smooth and swift, taking just a few breaths to turn the ghost patroller's body into ashes. Song-won used his escape technique and turned to leave. As he fled, he made sure to probe into the ghost patroller's storage bag with his spiritual sense. He found a jade box inside, which contained 3 walnut-sized yellow-green spirit fruits. It was indeed the heavenly spirit fruit. Song-won thought to himself. As expected, having witnessed the ghost patroller's escape technique, Song-won had guessed that the ghost patroller's speed was extraordinary and that he likely relied on his speed to obtain various spirit herbs. Song-won's guess proved accurate. The Ghost Patroller's storage bag indeed contained 3 heavenly spirit fruits. After Wu Sui had struck Ing and I away and seized the jade essence grass, he saw the bronze corpse closing in within less than 10 feet. 4. The bronze corpse, a distance of 10 feet, was already within its attack range. Wu Sui could almost feel the terrifyingly intense corpse energy emanating from the bronze corpse in a desperate moment. Wu Sui slapped the corpse bag at his waist that he had not used before. A 7-foot-tall, immensely malevolent corpse puppet was released. This was a corpse puppet made from the body of a Foundation establishment cultivator. And it could even possibly be the body of a body refining cultivator. Though the puppet's aura was only at the peak of chi refining, it exhibited an astonishing presence, far surpassing an ordinary chi refining peak cultivator. Like the bronze corpse, this was a pseudo-9th stage corpse puppet. It had a formidable corpse body but lacked the true 9th stage corpse energy and malevolent aura. Roar. As soon as the corpse puppet appeared, it opened its blood-red mouth, revealing sharp, elongated fangs, and let out a skyward roar. Bang. The corpse puppet collided with the bronze corpse. The impact was like 2 ancient beasts crashing into each other, producing a deep, thunderous sound. 2 powerful monsters entangled, falling towards the ground. The 2 powerful flesh and blood monsters grappled with each other, falling towards the ground. Wu Sui had just dealt with the threat of the bronze corpse when the iron-winged eagle's claws arrived. Wu Sui hurriedly manipulated his chains, which clanged loudly in the air, quickly forming a protective shell around him. He intended to use the chains to block the iron-winged eagle's attack. At that moment, a powerful figure leaped into the air. It was Qiu Li arriving on the scene. Her body was surging with blood energy, and behind her, a 10-meter-tall boar phantom had formed. This was an apparition that appeared after reaching a certain level in body refinement techniques. Qiu Li charged. Like a gigantic, ravenous wild boar descending from the mountain, unstoppable, muscles bulged beneath Qiu Li's skin as immense power concentrated in her hand. With a clenched fist, she threw a punch. Boom. The punch landed squarely on the iron-winged eagle's claw. The force of the punch and the claw clashed with explosive power. The immense recoil from the impact sent Qiu Li plummeting from the air. Her fingers burst open and blood splattered everywhere. The iron-winged eagle was also halted abruptly by the mountain-crushing punch, its iron-like claws trembling slightly, clearly wounded. Qiu Li crashed to the ground, creating a 2-meter-wide pit with dirt flying everywhere, yet she seemed unaffected, quickly climbing out of the pit and walking to where Wu Sui had just landed. Give me one of the jade essence grass. Qiu Li's eyes were sharp and commanding, leaving no room for argument. She had seen clearly that Wu Sui had taken both jade essence grass into his possession. For Wu Sui, who had acquired the treasures, it was not so easy to hand them over. Even though he had previously agreed to share the jade essence grass, Wu Sui said, "Sister Qiu, we are facing a major threat right now. Shouldn't we deal with the enemies first and then divide the treasures?" Qiu Li remained unmoved, sneering, "Don't think that I didn't see you attacking Ing and I just now. I am not a fool like Ing and I, who has nothing but a chest and no brains. Give me one jade essence grass now and I will hold off the iron-winged eagle while you handle the bronze corpse, if you don't agree." Qiu Li's aura grew more overwhelming, her blood energy surging wildly, with her threat unmistakable. A trace of barely perceptible killing intent flashed in Wu Sui's eyes, but the situation was pressing, and despite his unwillingness, he had no choice but to compromise. Having already provoked both the bronze corpse and the iron-winged eagle, facing Qiu Li as well left him with little chance of survival. All right. With that, he pulled a jade essence grass from his belongings, ready to hand it to Qiu Li. However, the next moment, Wu Sui was shocked by the jade essence grass in his hand. The jade essence grass, which should have been blood red, now had black veins spreading throughout it. And these veins were continuing to spread. The potent medicinal properties had been almost entirely destroyed by the Yin energy injected by the Ghost Patroller. What's going on? Wu Sui's face turned extremely grim, filled with disbelief. He quickly examined the other jade essence grass, finding the same situation. Realizing what had happened, Wu Sui's expression twisted with rage. "Ghost Patroller, I will tear you to shreds." Wu Sui gritted his teeth and said the jade essence grass he had painstakingly obtained were now worthless, fueling Wu Sui's frustration even more. Qiu Li, seeing the 2 jade essence grass in Wu Sui's hand had lost their potency, showed a brief moment of shock and disappointment before turning away. End of the chapter. Fun fact: you can now support me and read advanced chapters of RDC. Currently up to 180 as of 23 Sep 24. Just visit my Patreon. Pa Cindertl. If you are content with the free chapters, you can show your appreciation by joining me for as low as 1. You can read this and other series more coming in the future on my Patreon, and please leave some reviews. Need more reviews. Chapter 106. Xiao Li wanted to leave, but someone wasn't letting her. The iron-winged eagle, having suffered at Xiao Li's hands, circled in the air and then dived down again. With its massive size and lightning-fast speed, it was like a high-speed diving fighter jet, its razor-sharp beak like a keen blade aimed directly at Xiao Li's head. The boar phantom behind Xiao Li became increasingly solid, as if it might come to life at any moment. Countless veins bulged, writhing beneath her skin like worms. Die. Xiao Li roared, throwing a powerful punch. The fist collided with the eagle's beak. A tremendous gust of wind exploded between them, shattering the surrounding trees and reducing everything within a 10-meter radius to dust. The iron-winged eagle was pummeled, its head battered and bleeding, and it hastily climbed into the sky, gradually disappearing from sight. Xiao Li's clothes were almost entirely shredded, exposing her hefty, pig-bristle-covered body. Her left hand hung limply, the recent punch causing multiple fractures in her arm. Xiao Li frowned, enduring the intense pain in her arm, and used the blood escape technique to flee. With Xiao Li fleeing, Wu Sui naturally wouldn't stay behind either. More and more cultivators had arrived, but they were intimidated by the power of the bronze corpse and the corpse puppet, and no one dared to step forward. Many observed from a distance, noting that the 2 jade essence grass Wu Sui had obtained were now rotting and turned away. However, a small number of cultivators didn't notice this and remained on the periphery, eager to act. The battle between the bronze corpse and the corpse puppet was brutal, a pure physical contest with relentless blows. The corpse puppet, though strong, was gradually falling behind due to its weaker physical strength. Boom. The 2 zombies exchanged punches. The bronze corpse staggered back several steps, with each step creating a large pit in the ground. The corpse puppet was sent flying backward, its chest torn open and dark liquid spilling out. At this moment, a chain shot out from the air, wrapping around the corpse puppet and pulling it away. Wu Sui had apparently released his flying boat and was now in midair. He couldn't afford to have his strongest asset, the corpse puppet made from a foundation building expert's body, damaged easily. Roar. Seeing the enemy suddenly fleeing, the bronze corpse let out an enraged roar. It used its knees to slam into the ground, creating a large pit, and then shot towards the flying boat like an arrow. The chain jerked, flinging the corpse puppet onto the flying boat. Then, like a striking venomous snake, it launched forward. The bronze corpse saw the chain shooting towards its chest and punched it with both hands. The invulnerable chain, which had served Wu Sui well multiple times, snapped with a loud crack. With the magic weapon destroyed, Wu Sui on the flying boat suffered a backlash, blood spilling from his mouth, his body shaking violently, almost causing him to fall off the boat. Wu Sui gritted his teeth, regaining control and maneuvering the flying boat to flee further. With the chain blocked, the bronze corpse's speed slowed, and unable to fly, it could only land on the ground. As soon as it landed, it saw 2 jade essence grass falling from the sky, landing hundreds of meters behind it. Not the sharpest tool, the bronze corpse did not chase after Wu Sui but turned to pursue the jade essence grass. When it discovered that the mushrooms had decayed and lost their potency, it roared in anger once more. Its overwhelming corpse energy surged, resembling a demon descending upon the world. However, this delay allowed the cunning human to vanish into the distance. Unable to vent its fury, the bronze corpse could only destroy everything around it. Trees and rocks toppled, and deafening crashes filled the air. Cultivators hiding on the outskirts, witnessing this scene, were as frightened as quails, tucking their necks and quickly fleeing. As Xiao Li was fleeing, her brow was tightly furrowed. Her left arm was broken, which had a significant impact on her as a close combat practitioner. Right now, she needed to find a safe hiding spot as quickly as possible to treat her left arm. She didn't expect an immediate cure, but at least wanted to preserve her arm. If her left arm were to become permanently disabled, her future cultivation path would be incredibly difficult. Suddenly, her spiritual sense detected a cold gleam flashing behind her head. Moving with lightning speed, in this critical moment, Xiao Li remained highly calm. She quickly turned around and the massive boar phantom reappeared behind her. Her right hand clenched into a fist and she struck out with full force. Puff. The sound of a blade cutting through flesh. The cold moon blade was ultimately lodged in Xiao Li's hardened fist bones, but the blade continuously emitted a chilling, sharp aura that almost pulverized her hand's flesh and blood. The hand was a mess, and the bones were exposed. Who dares to sneak attack me? Only cowards hide in the dark and attack from the shadows. Dare to show yourself and fight me. Xiao Li's eyes were fierce, vigilantly scanning her surroundings. Song Wen's figure emerged slowly from the trees, the cold moon blade already recalled, now jumping around in Song Wen's palm. Song Wen wore a cold, indifferent smile. Senior Sister Qiu, you seem to be in quite a predicament after 2 days. Xiao Li's eyes were filled with shock and hatred. After a brief moment of astonishment, she gritted her teeth and said, Jeanine, it's you. I didn't expect you to hide so deeply, being a full-fledged Qi refining expert. You and I have no grievances between us. Let's pretend the events of the other day never happened. We'll go our separate ways, and I won't bother you again. Facing Xiao Li's proposal, Songwen shook his head. That's not possible. Now that you know my secret, you must die. As soon as the words were spoken, the cold moon blade flew out again as fast as the wind. Xiao Li's expression didn't change. The pressure from the cold moon blade was too great for her to be confident she could continuously fend off its attacks. Jeanine, you forced me. Xiao Li's blood energy surged, and the black boar phantom behind her was instantly bathed in blood red. She was using the blood escape technique from the corpse demon sect, the blood sacrifice art. Her previously bloated, pig-like body quickly transformed into a surge of blood energy. Her form also rapidly slimmed down. In an instant, her bulky, stout body changed into a lean and slender one. However, her skin still resembled a thick, loose boar hide, hanging loosely as if she were wearing an oversized boarskin outfit. Feeling the rapid consumption of blood energy within her body, which brought a surge of spiritual power, Xiao Li's eyes were filled with killing intent. She clenched her right fist tightly and threw a punch in the direction of the cold moon blade. At that moment, she suddenly sensed two small goos racing towards her temples from either side. Although small, the gus possessed the terrifying strength of a 9th-layer Qi refining cultivator. Poisonous goos. Xiao Li's eyes widened in disbelief. Jean Yin's concealment was too deep, with her left hand injured and her right hand engaged in blocking the cold moon blade's attack. Xiao Li had no time to defend against the poison gus attack, nor to summon a defensive magical artifact from her storage bag. A spiritual energy shield activated around her, and she could only use the shield to block the poison gus assault. Then, to Xiao Li's astonished gaze, the cold moon blade, which was about to cut through her fist, suddenly changed course, avoiding her punch. A stunned thought flashed through her mind. How is this possible? How can a Qi refining cultivator control a magical artifact with spiritual energy to change its attack path on a whim? Only a foundation establishment cultivator with spiritual awareness could achieve such a feat. End of the chapter. Fun fact: you can now support me and read advanced chapters of RDC. Currently up to 180 as of 23 Sep 24. Just visit my Patreon, Pa-Cindertl. If you are content with the free chapters, you can show your appreciation by joining me for as low as $1. You can read this and other series more coming in the future on my Patreon, and please leave some reviews. Need more reviews. Chapter 107. A missed powerful punch left Xiao Li in great discomfort. The spiritual energy she had gathered in her fist had nowhere to go, flowing wildly through her meridians and causing her energy shield to collapse. Her internal blood and energy surged, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Her body staggered, nearly causing her to fall. At that moment, the poison goo struck. The two small goo hit Xiao Li's vulnerable temples directly. Two tiny blood spots appeared. The goo pierced through her skull and drilled into her brain. With the poison goo achieving their goal, Songwen didn't hold back. The cold moon blade, having circled around, stabbed into the back of Xiao Li's head. The fierce blade aura instantly turned her brain matter into a mess. Xiao Li immediately lost consciousness and fell to the ground, dead. The two poison goo crawled reluctantly from the broken temple points. The blood-rich Xiao Li was tempting to them, and they desired to devour her organs and essence. However, Songwen also wanted to absorb Xiao Li's essence, so he drove the poison goo away. Moments later, after cleaning up Xiao Li's corpse, Songwen revealed a smile. In Xiao Li's storage bag, he found 2 heavenly spirit fruits. Moreover, the thrill of taking advantage of someone's weakness and killing to seize their treasures was quite satisfying. The heavenly spirit fruits were easily obtained, avoiding the need to battle with the guardian beasts of the fruits. Now, only Wu Sui remained. Songwen's gaze shifted to the location where Wu Sui's flying boat had disappeared. Activating the blood escape technique, he lifted his leg and gave chase. Wu Sui, seeing that the copper corpse didn't follow, gradually slowed the flying boat's speed. With the chain artifact destroyed, he had sustained some damage to his consciousness, which was quite uncomfortable. Suddenly, he noticed unusual movements on the ground several miles behind him. From the corner of his eye, someone was following. Wu Sui's eyes sharpened. Although injured, he was not someone to be easily dealt with. A talisman appeared in his hand, faintly glowing with a sharp sword aura. It was a high-grade first-tier talisman, the Spirit Sword Talisman among first-tier talismans. This was one of the most lethal. Using the Spirit Sword Talisman to kill a sneak attacker should be more than enough. Wu Sui controlled the flying boat to fly slowly as if he hadn't noticed the pursuer when the pursuer was only a few 100 meters away from the flying boat. Wu Sui suddenly activated his spiritual energy, igniting the Spirit Sword Talisman. A 3-foot-long, 1-inch-wide sword of spiritual energy appeared in midair. The sword was shimmering with sword aura, resembling a true, peerless treasure sword. Go! The sword light shot forth like a dazzling rainbow, cutting through the air in a flash. Songwen, looking at the sword light shooting towards him from the air, was somewhat astonished. He had been detected, but thinking it over, it wasn't surprising to be detected. Although Songwen had tried his best to control his breath and the force of his landing, the wind he generated while running definitely disturbed the vegetation. Wu Sui, positioned high in the air, was not surprised to see the unusual movement of the vegetation below from his elevated vantage point. Faced with the sharp sword energy of the Spirit Sword Talisman, Songwen remained calm. A green bronze light suddenly enveloped him, and in an instant, a tangible bronze bell covered his entire body. Dong! The sword struck the bronze bell with a crisp clang, as if someone was actually striking the bell. The spirit sword was shattered and dispersed into spiritual energy in the air. The green light on the bell intensified, then faded back to normal after a few flashes. The first-tier high-grade Spirit Sword Talisman posed no threat to the bronze bell refined from the 10,000 poison body over the past 2 years, despite consuming countless toxic substances. Songwen's 10,000 poison body remained at the proficient level. However, the bronze bell refined from 10,000 poison body had become more solid. He had a premonition that soon he would be able to advance 10,000 poison body to a small achievement stage through years of training. Songwen also realized that his physical body showed exceptional talent in practicing various body refining techniques. This was true for Corpse King blood refining technique and also for 10,000 poison body. Though the progress in demonic methods slowed significantly in the later stages of Qi refining, Songwen's progress did not notably decline. His advancement in Corpse King blood refining technique continued rapidly. In just 3 years, he had advanced from the 6th level of Qi refining to the full completion stage. Of course, this involved the use of various pills, spirit stones, and materials. Seeing that his crucial strike was easily neutralized, Wu Sui began to take the pursuer seriously. Forget it, with the damage to his consciousness, it's better to temporarily avoid the fight. After a brief thought, Wu Sui accelerated the flying boat, swiftly heading towards the horizon. From start to finish, Wu Sui did not recognize the person below as his acquaintance, Ji Yin. After all, in his perception, Ji Yin only had the cultivation of the 5th level of Qi refining, while the person below had displayed the cultivation of the 9th level in just an instant. The difference was too great. Additionally, Songwen had changed his own aura. It was normal for Wu Sui not to recognize Songwen removed the bronze bell and watched the flying boat speeding away with a smile. Fleeing? A pipe dream. Songwen did not immediately use escape techniques to pursue. Wu Sui was accompanied by a corpse puppet refined from a foundation-building cultivator. To kill him head-on would require considerable effort. Moreover, as the grandson of a Golden Core ancestor, Wu Sui was unlikely to be without life-saving treasures. It was better to wait until the opponent relaxed their guard and then launch a surprise attack. As for whether the distance would be too far to follow Wu Sui, Songwen was not worried at all. While on Wu Sui's flying boat, Songwen had secretly left a spiritual mark. As long as the distance was not too far, Songwen could sense the position of the flying boat and thus follow Wu Sui. With Wu Sui only at the full completion of the 9th level of Qi refining and his spiritual power not yet evolved into spiritual sense, it was impossible for him to detect the spiritual mark Songwen left on the flying boat that night. Outside a cave in the Withered Blood secret realm, Songwen looked at the cave ahead with a peculiar expression. The cave was quite unusual. The entrance was narrow, but after advancing for several dozen meters, it opened up to a spacious area about an acre in size. Inside the cave, at that moment, 2 unclothed bodies were entwined together. These 2 were Wu Sui and Ying Ai. They had somehow ended up together and were engaged in intimate activities. Songwen, with a playful smile, adjusted his aura to his usual appearance and stepped into the cave. Wu Sui sensed Songwen's arrival first. His body stiffened momentarily, then continued. Someone. Ying Ai also sensed a familiar aura approaching. Don't worry, it's Ji Yin. Wu Sui sealed Ying Ai's red lips with a kiss, not giving her a moment to catch her breath. TL note. WTF, first they wanted to kill each other, now they are back together again? End of the chapter. Fun fact: you can now support me and read advanced chapters of RDC. Currently up to 180 as of 23 Sep 24. Just visit my Patreon, Pa_Cinder_TL. If you are content with the free chapters, you can show your appreciation by joining me for as low as 1. You can read this and other series more coming in the future on my Patreon, and please leave some reviews. Need more reviews. Chapter 108. Songwon entered the cave's main hall. In the hall, the two people were still immersed in their passionate activity, showing no sign of stopping. Ing Ni sat on Wu Sui's lap, embracing him with a flushed face. Ing Ni was facing Songwon directly as he entered. She threw him a seductive glance with her charming eyes, a mesmerizing sight. Heart-stirring. Seeing that the two were not planning to stop, Songwon wasn't in a hurry to act. He just stood there watching. Suddenly, Wu Sui ceased his movements and his body started to tremble uncontrollably. At this moment, Ingni's eyes, which had been half-closed, abruptly snapped open with a fierce look. The redness on her face quickly faded, replaced by a fierce and twisted expression. A short sword appeared in her hand and she stabbed it toward Wu Sui's back of the head. Just as the sword tip was about to pierce Wu Sui's skull, a green light shield suddenly emerged from him, blocking the blade. Ingni's face showed panic and confusion. Wu Sui was completely naked, so he shouldn't have any magical artifacts. After all, magical artifacts can't be stored inside the body like spiritual weapons. Where did the green shield come from? Having been exposed, Ing Ni could no longer care much. Reluctantly, she stabbed several more times, but all were blocked by the green shield. Wu Sui slowly lifted his head with a mocking expression. Junior sister Ing, did you really think I was completely unprepared for you? Before his words were finished, a black light emerged from Wu Sui's hand. His previously smooth and slender fingers transformed into the dark, withered claws of a zombie which grabbed at Ingni's lower dantian. The claws pierced through her snow-white, delicate skin, gouging out a piece of fresh, red flesh, leaving a large bloody hole in her dantian. With her dantian destroyed, her cultivation was ruined. Ingni's aura rapidly declined, soon becoming only slightly stronger than an ordinary person. Ing Ni spat out a mouthful of blood, collapsing to the ground, her eyes filled with unwillingness and fear. You clearly don't have a storage bag. Where did that green shield come from? Wu Sui slowly stood up, looking down at Ing Ni with a mocking expression. That's a bit of my grandfather's power, sealed within my body at the cost of his own cultivation. It's the power of a golden core cultivator, my true life-saving trump card. Something you lowly cultivators could never access. As long as I will it, the power transforms into a spiritual shield, protecting me thoroughly. Ha ha. Feeling pleased, Wu Sui suddenly threw his head back and laughed. Do you think that you, a lowly courtesan, can deceive me with a bit of seduction? Did you really think I didn't notice the storage ring on your hand? How could I be unprepared for you? Wu Sui squatted down, bringing his head close to Ingni's beautiful face, and whispered, this body of yours is truly tempting, it's hard to destroy it. Hearing this, a glimmer of hope appeared in Ingni's otherwise despairing eyes. She struggled to rise, pressing her voluptuous chest against Wu Sui's calf, pleading, Senior brother Wu Sui, I was just momentarily bewitched, please spare my life. And I will serve you well from now on. Wu Sui kicked Ing Ni away. There's no need for such trouble. Who knows when you might have ill intentions again? I will seal your soul within your body and turn you into a living corpse, making you serve me forever. Ing Ni's face turned bitter, as if she could already envision herself becoming a living corpse. Suddenly, the green shield on Wu Sui's body lit up again. A cold beam of light, like a rainbow piercing the sun, slammed hard into the green shield. The green shield kept Wu Sui unharmed from the surprise attack of the cold moon blade, but the immense force of the blade still sent him flying several meters away. Caught off guard by the sudden assault, Wu Sui looked up, his gaze dark and menacing. Towards Songwon standing at the hall's entrance. Jin, it's you. Before Wu Sui could finish speaking, another cold beam struck, sending him flying once more before he could regain his balance. Bang. 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 The continuous impacts made Wu Sui feel like a turtle retreating into its shell, being tossed around by the immense force of the cold moon blade, yet he remained unharmed. Despite this, the repeated collisions were extremely uncomfortable, making him feel like his organs were being twisted. Stop. Jin, stop attacking. Wu Sui, struggling to endure the discomfort, shouted, if you promise not to attack me again, I can swear an oath by heaven that I will not seek revenge for today's events, nor will I tell anyone about this. Jin, what do you say? After activating the cold moon blades several times, Songwon had consumed quite a bit of spiritual energy. He had not anticipated that the green shield would be so formidable. He had expected to break through it easily with his half-damaged spirit weapon, but found himself mistaken. It was indeed the power of a golden core cultivator, left as a safeguard by Wu Sui's grandfather. Even though this power was without a source, it was still beyond the reach of a mere foundation establishment cultivator like Song Wen to easily overcome. Song Wen ceased his attacks, took 2 energy recovery pills, and began refining them right in front of Wu Sui. While he couldn't currently break through the green shield, he could still trap Wu Sui in the cave. He was in no rush and planned to wear him down gradually. As he refined the pills, Song Wen said, "Wu Sui's suggestion is reasonable, however. I must take those 2 heavenly spirit fruits from you." Seeing that Song Wen was swayed by his proposal and had indeed stopped attacking, Wu Sui's expression brightened. "So, you want the heavenly spirit fruits? If you had said so earlier, I would have given them to you willingly. There's no need for us to fight and harm our relations. To show my sincerity, I'll hand over the heavenly spirit fruits to you first," Wu Sui said with a generous demeanor. Then he pointed to a pile of clothes not far from Ying and I. "However, the heavenly spirit fruits are in the storage ring. May I go over and retrieve them?" Wu Sui had been knocked away by the cold moon blades several times and was now several dozen meters from the spot where Ying and I had fallen. Song Wen kept his gaze steady on Wu Sui, his eyes deep and unreadable. Without saying a word, suddenly, Ying and I, who lay on the ground, her aura fading, spoke up. "Jiyin, don't trust Wu Sui's deceitful words. If he opens the storage ring, he's likely just trying to retrieve more items to attack you." Cough. Cough. Ying and I spoke quickly and loudly, which exacerbated her injuries, and she couldn't help but cough up blood. Wu Sui glared fiercely at the half-dead Ying and I, wishing he could kill her with his gaze alone. She had always liked to meddle even before Jiyin arrived, and now, even with her life hanging by a thread, she continued to interfere. "I don't quite believe Sister Ying Ni's words, given Wu Sui's esteemed status as the Golden Core ancestor's direct descendant. He wouldn't be someone who breaks his word." Song Wen suddenly spoke in defense of Wu Sui. "Since Wu Sui is willing to show his sincerity by first handing over the heavenly spirit fruits, I should also make a gesture." With that, Song Wen opened his storage ring, placed the cold moon blade inside, and threw the ring 10 meters ahead on the ground. It's well known that chi refining cultivators need to physically touch a storage ring to open it. Only foundation establishment cultivators with spiritual consciousness can open storage rings from a distance. End of the chapter. Fun fact: you can now support me and read advanced chapters of RDC. Currently up to 180 as of 23 Sep 24. Just visit my Patreon. Pa*Cinder if you are content with the free chapters. You can show your appreciation by joining me for as low as 1. You can read this and other series more coming in the future on my Patreon. And please leave some reviews. Need more reviews. Chapter 109. Good. Wu Sui's spirits lifted, and he exclaimed loudly, "Jiyin, you truly are a generous and trustworthy person. I will give the heavenly spirit fruits to you right away." As he spoke, Wu Sui quickly moved towards the pile of clothes. Ying and I, enduring intense pain, shouted with a mixture of anger and frustration. "Jiyin, how could you be so foolish as to believe Wu Sui's lies so easily? How did someone as naive as you manage to advance to the 9th level of chi refining in the corpse demon sect?" Song Wen seemed to snap out of his daze from Ying Ni's words. As Wu Sui was still about 20 meters from where the storage ring was thrown, he suddenly shouted, "Senior brother Wu Sui, stop!" Song Wen's sudden shout made Wu Sui halt in his tracks. He looked eagerly at the storage ring not far ahead, but forced himself to maintain a smile. Addressing Song Wen, "Jiyin, what is it?" Song Wen said, "Sister Ying and I has a point. Since I've thrown away the storage ring, shouldn't senior brother show some goodwill and temporarily deactivate your spiritual shield?" Wu Sui glanced at Song Wen and then back at the storage ring. Next to the storage ring was a corpse storage bag containing a corpse puppet made from the body of a foundation establishment cultivator. Wu Sui's gaze darted between Song Wen, the storage ring, and the corpse storage bag. After a moment, he seemed to make up his mind. "All right, I agree to your terms." He was 50 meters away from Song Wen at such a distance. Even if Song Wen had a hidden card, there was enough time for Wu Sui to use his remaining power to form another spiritual shield. With that, the green shield around Wu Sui disappeared. Wu Sui's eyes remained fixed on Song Wen, wary of any sudden attack. To his surprise and delight, Song Wen did not use the opportunity to strike. Instead, he watched as Wu Sui approached the pile of clothes step by step, closer. 10 meters. 8 meters. 5 meters. Wu Sui's excitement grew. The corpse storage bag was right in front of him. When he was within 3 meters, Wu Sui suddenly leaped and grabbed the corpse storage bag on the ground. Roar! The pseudo-second-level corpse puppet, made from the body of a Foundation establishment cultivator, suddenly appeared. The corpse puppet moved with lightning speed, filled with murderous intent, and charged straight at Song Wen. At this moment, Wu Sui's face was filled with derision and malice. Jean, die! Ingni's eyes turned dead and hopeless again. She had hoped that if Song Wen won, she might have a slim chance of survival. However, the favorable situation was ruined by this fool, Ji-in, who had effectively sealed their fate. How could someone from the demonic sect be so gullible? Facing the corpse puppet brimming with death aura and murderous intent, Song Wen looked panicked, his face full of fear and anxiety. Seeing the corpse puppet closing in, Song Wen quickly took out a corpse puppet from his waist storage bag. A 9th-level Qi refining corpse puppet leaped out and positioned itself in front of Song Wen himself turned and fled towards the cave entrance. Run? Ji-in, do you think you can escape? Ha ha ha. Don't be foolish enough to think that an ordinary 9th-level Qi refining corpse puppet can stop my corpse puppet. You won't escape my grasp. Wu Sui's triumphant laughter echoed throughout the cave, as if to prove Wu Sui's words right. As soon as the two corpse puppets clashed, the 9th-level Qi refining corpse puppet had no chance to resist. It was seized by the pseudo-second-level corpse puppet, which grabbed its neck and waist, lifting it effortlessly. The pseudo-second-level corpse puppet suddenly exerted force, tearing the 9th-level Qi refining corpse puppet apart. The pseudo-second-level corpse puppet casually threw the remains aside, then took a few steps to catch up with Song Wen. With a single palm strike, it aimed at the back of Song Wen's head. Bang! Song Wen's head exploded like a watermelon falling from a great height, scattering bits everywhere. Wu Sui's face was full of arrogant delight. A mere Ji-in, an outer sect disciple, dared to oppose him was simply asking for death. Buffed! The sound of a sharp weapon piercing through flesh and bone came from behind Wu Sui. A dry, dark claw, gleaming with cold light, pierced through his back and out of his chest. On the claw, the deathly aura of the corpse was like countless sharp blades, ravaging his insides and turning his organs into a pulp. Turning around, Wu Sui saw that it was Ji-in, who should have been dead. Wasn't Ji-in supposed to be dead? Hadn't his head been smashed by a corpse puppet? Why was he suddenly appearing behind him? With endless doubts, Wu Sui's breath faded. The blood and soul essence inside Wu Sui quickly gathered toward Song Wen, along with a trace of divine consciousness. You little brat, daring to kill my direct descendant, I will make you suffer beyond death. At the same time, in a cave near the summit of Corpse Demon Mountain, an old man suddenly opened his eyes, which seemed to contain a seething sea of corpses and blood. 2 beams of intense light shot from his eyes, seemingly able to cross thousands of miles, aimed at the withered blood secret realm miles away. Sewer is dead. No matter who the murderer is, I will tear you to pieces. The voice, filled with deep hatred, echoed through the cave moments later. Wu Ren's expression changed slightly, disbelief written all over his face. The soul fragment I left in sewer, how could it suddenly disappear? Sewer should be in the withered blood secret realm with the power and pseudo-second-level corpse puppet I gave him. Who could possibly kill him? After a moment's thought, Wu Ren stood up and flew toward the withered blood secret realm. Song Wen sensed the divine consciousness he had absorbed inside in his heart. People like Wu Sui, with such a deep background, truly had too many trump cards even after death. They could still pose a deadly threat. However, having encountered him, Wu Sui still met his end. That divine consciousness had been absorbed into his sea of consciousness, becoming nourishment for it. Previously, the head, smashed by the pseudo-second-level corpse puppet, was a decoy. To make it more convincing, Song Wen had given the decoy a simple disguise to make it look somewhat like him. This completely fooled Wu Sui, who believed the decoy killed by the pseudo-second-level corpse puppet was Song Wen's real body. Song Wen absorbed Wu Sui's blood and soul essence, then walked over to Ing and I was gravely injured and had not received timely treatment. Her condition was critical, nearing the point of death. Seeing Songwon arrive, Ingni's eyes sparkled with a desire to live. She used her remaining strength to prop herself up, pleading, "Junior brother Ji-in, save me, and I will swear an oath to serve you as my master, obeying all your commands." Songwon's gaze swept over her, taking in her stunning face, her tall and graceful figure, and the large gaping wound on her side. Ingni knew too many of his secrets. For her own safety, she had to die. Moreover, Ingni was already a cripple. Even if she genuinely wanted to become his servant, what use would a cripple be? End of the chapter. Fun fact: you can now support me and read advanced chapters of RDC. Currently up to 180 as of 23 Sep 24. Just visit my Patreon. Pasindertl if you are content with the free chapters. You can show your appreciation by joining me for as low as $1. You can read this and other series more coming in the future on my Patreon. And please leave some reviews. Need more reviews. Chapter 110. Songwon stripped everything from Ingni and Wu Sui, consumed their essence blood, and burned their bodies to ashes. After finishing, Songwon left the cave. He chose a random direction and traveled for over 100 miles before stopping in a valley with sparse spiritual energy. Songwon released the 8 black beetles, confirmed that there were no powerful demon beasts or cultivators within a few miles, and then sat down against a rocky mountain wall to begin sorting through his spoils. First was the green ring from Ingni. At first glance, Songwon suspected it was a storage ring. A quick probe confirmed that it was indeed a storage ring. Unlike storage bags, which are common in the cultivation world, storage rings are much rarer and generally only possessed by cultivators of foundation establishment or above. Even Wu Sui only used a storage bag, although the space in Ingni's storage ring was not very large, only about 10 cubic meters. It was still significantly larger than that of a typical storage bag, which usually ranges from 1 to 10 cubic meters. Songwon's current storage bag, obtained from ZE, had a volume of 7 cubic meters. Although Ingni's storage ring was among the lowest quality, Songwon was still quite pleased. Previously, he had considered using a storage ring to secretly bring the heavenly spirit fruits out of the secret realm without detection by his sect. However, refining and operating a storage ring requires spiritual sense or extremely powerful mental energy. This means that most chi refining cultivators cannot use a storage ring. Over time, storage rings became exclusive to cultivators of foundation establishment and above, with very few chi refining cultivators using them. Ingni's possession of a storage ring was likely due to her cultivation of seduction techniques, which often grant cultivators stronger mental energy than their peers. This made Songwon's plan to acquire a storage ring particularly challenging. In a shop run by the Corpse Demon sect in a market, storage rings were indeed available for sale, but they were only displayed on the floors accessible to foundation establishment cultivators. With the cheapest priced at 10,000 spirit stones, Songwon didn't even qualify to access those floors, let alone make a purchase. He had also considered buying a storage ring through other channels, but after inquiries, he found that foundation establishment cultivators looked down on dealings with unfamiliar chi refining cultivators. As the saying goes, not all meat is of the same quality, and not all people are equal. Songwon dared not openly seek a storage ring and, in the end, had no choice but to use his heart to hide the jade box to smuggle the heavenly spirit fruits. His plan was to bring only 2 heavenly spirit fruits out of the secret realm, while abandoning other spoils that could reveal his strength or raise suspicions. Since he noticed Ingni's green ring, he coveted it like Wu Sui. Songwon also left a spiritual sense mark on Ingni. Unexpectedly, the intertwining circumstances of Ingni and Wu Sui saved Songwon a lot of time. With the storage ring now in hand, things became much easier. The spoils could be stored in the ring and carried out of the secret realm in his heart. The storage ring from Ingni contained many items: spirit stones, pills, talismans, and even some women's clothing, including a set of seduction technique cultivation methods. Songwon had little interest in these items. After a cursory glance, he took out Wu Sui's storage bag. Wu Sui's storage bag contained a vast amount of items, including nearly 1,000 spirit stones and a rich assortment of pills and talismans. Songwon also found a broken chain artifact, which was unfortunate because it was a rare and valuable item that could be freely manipulated. Then there was Wu Sui's corpse cultivation bag. Songwon was interested in the pseudo-second-tier corpse puppet inside. After careful examination, He was sure that this corpse could be refined into a genuine second-tier corpse puppet, however. The cultivation of this puppet was done to be controllable by Wu Sui, intentionally making it a pseudo-second-tier puppet. Therefore, Wu Sui's corpse cultivation bag was no longer useful coincidentally. Song Wen found a black coffin in Wu Sui's storage bag, a mid-grade corpse nurturing coffin. He planned to place the corpse puppet inside it and then into the storage ring, intending to find an opportunity to re-refine it later by changing its appearance and aura. No one would recognize it as Wu Sui's. Next was Qiu Li's storage bag, inside. Song Wen found a very interesting technique called Demon Saint Magic Art. This is a body refining technique, including methods for both qi refining and foundation establishment stages. It involves condensing the illusion of a demon beast and, as cultivation progresses, allows the cultivator to transform into a demon beast in battle, greatly enhancing their power and defense. Song Wen skimmed through the Demon Saint Magic Art and set it aside since he already had his primary cultivation technique and was not going to switch to another. Finally, Song Wen examined Gue Sun's storage bag, which contained 2 jade slips. One recorded a secret technique called Ghostly Nether Escape, which requires a significant amount of Yin and ghost energy. Excessive refinement of ghostly and Yin energy poses risks, similar to Song Wen's own corpse transformation. TL note: Gue Sun. Ghost Patroller. The other jade slip contained a technique for controlling ghosts and a method for refining a ghost banner, known as the Yin Soul Banner. Both Gue Sun and Chen Xiaoming used Yin Soul Banners, which they had refined themselves. The Yin Soul Banner is a continuously refinable item that can be strengthened with sufficient materials, souls, and Yin and ghost energy. Many cultivators even refine it into a personal magic treasure. It can be used for offense, defense, and assisting in escape, making it an extremely versatile and powerful tool. After sorting through all the storage bags, Song Wen put the 7 heavenly spirit fruits into a jade box and stored it in the storage ring. He checked every item in the storage bags, including every artifact, pill, and spirit stone, ensuring none had spiritual sense marks before placing them all into the storage ring. He then piled up the personal items from the storage bags and prepared to burn them. Just as he was about to act, he remembered the spiritual sense mark that appeared on Wu Sui at the moment of his death. Song Wen retrieved Wu Sui's empty storage bag and put back Wu Sui's personal items, the broken chain artifact, and some spirit stones and items from Wu Sui's storage bag. Song Wen stored Wu Sui's storage bag. He dealt with other personal items and storage bags by either burning or burying them. Song Wen selected a few commonly found spirit herbs from the Withered Blood secret realm and put them into his storage bag to report back to his sect. Although there were still 5 days before the secret realm closed, Song Wen had already achieved his goal for this trip, and obtaining the heavenly spirit fruits exceeded his expectations. He did not intend to take more risks. To adapt early, Song Wen decided to place the storage ring in his heart. The intense pain from carrying the ring constantly made him decide to insert it into his heart today. When the black beetle broke open his heart, a large amount of blood flowed out, and excruciating pain surged through his entire body, making him feel as if he had lost his source of energy, rendering him weak. The vast amount of essence blood hidden in his bones began to flow out to replenish the lost blood from his heart. One of the black beetles dragged the storage ring and forcibly inserted it into his heart. This swift and brutal action nearly caused Song Wen to faint from the pain. Veins bulged on his forehead, and his face contorted in agony. The remaining 7 prepared black beetles quickly used their mandibles to close the wound on his heart as soon as the storage ring was inserted. Enduring the agonizing pain, Song Wen relied on his strong will to swallow a healing pill and began to circulate his energy to heal. Although body-refining cultivators have greater physical strength and recovery speed than ordinary cultivators, it still took Song Wen over an hour to barely close the wound in his heart. End of the chapter. Fun fact: you can now support me and read advanced chapters of RDC. Currently up to 180 as of 23 Sep 24. Just visit my Patreon. Pa-Cinder-TL if you are content with the free chapters. You can show your appreciation by joining me for as low as 1. You can read this and other series more coming in the future on my Patreon. And please leave some reviews. Need more reviews.